Hello there, I'm Sydney Blankenship, and this is my final speech for the Speech 1315 Public Speaking Lone Star Community College Final Exam. Number 1, please describe your strongest presentation. I've always had confidence in my abilities as a storyteller, so I think my story speech is probably my most interesting speech and my most successful one. I know I got lots of great feedback from the audience, and I think they enjoyed it as well. They're my friends, so they kind of had to. Number 2, please describe one of your classmates' speech. I believe Miss Charnay Gross has a very good habit for organizing her speeches effectively, and they're usually full of both great quotes and great analysis. Her descriptive speech on millennials is the one I found the most fascinating, and I think the only thing she struggles with is making the information more entertaining. She sounds like she knows what she's talking about, but she's just not all that interested in the subject, which is a very easy thing to fix. What organization pattern did you use to organize your story speech? Logical reasoning is how I think I would classify my story speech. To explain something chronologically is usually the safest way to organize a story, and you needed to know the environment I was in so you could understand how my bully even came to be. I think it's probably the most precise way to tell that kind of story and can help the speech feel very organic. What method of informing did you use in your informative speech? I used descriptive elements in both of my informative speeches, but I'm going to focus more on my successful one about dog braids. I described the environment in which dog braids came to be with the American Kennel Club and their current place in our society. For my speech about dog breeds, I used my own dog as an example of inbreeding that can cause problems for a purebred dog later in life. He was essentially my demonstration, as well as my explanation on the problems with the current breed system in place. Describe how you used Monroe's motivated sequence pattern to organize your persuasive speech. Firstly, I let the audience know there was a problem in America's child care system. That was how I got their attention, as well as establishing a need for mending this said problem. A part of building my case, I discussed 2 horrible events that happened this year as a direct result of mismanaged child care facilities. I believe learning about how the 2 daycares had essentially gotten lost in the system and how it was kind of inevitable that something terrible like this would happen helped establish a need for change, and letting them know that the facilities are closed shows that we want to get better as a country, as a society. I told them how we needed to seek out federal funding and get tighter regulations on how child care systems should be run, as well as contacting their local government and voting in nearby elections when it comes to issues of child care management. Additional techniques I used from the textbook. I was in a smaller room, so projection wasn't that much of an issue, but my voice definitely carried. Thank you, theater. So I know I have projection down. I also believe everyone has an understanding of how important children are, whether or not they like them, and how we need to fight as a society to keep them safe, either from bad food, obesity, hitting each other, violence, just all sorts of nastiness that comes out of mismanaging places where children are. How has my public speaking skills improved over the course of the term? Went too far. I think I found the line between being entertaining and informative over the last semester. As you can see in my story speech, I'm very confident. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying because I have a clear line of plot in my brain. As for my first informative speech, I'm very flustered. I hadn't reviewed the material enough, nor was it organized in a way that was easy for me to practice or glance at during the speech. I learned more about that through reading the textbook. Controlling my material is very important. According to the textbook, page 232, I edited myself down for my second informative speech, and I believe it was a lot more successful. I conveyed what I wanted to convey and managed to cite things as well. As for my last speech about child care centers, I think I was confident because of my involvement in the material. It's important for me to feel a connection to what I'm talking about, or else I don't perform as well. I could work more on speech citing, either doing it at the top of my speech or trying to make note of it throughout. Chapter 12's tip number 2 on more effective ways to present citations in the speech is what I need to focus on. What do you think you could have done better in your performances? Well, as I said, my speech about bees was very lackluster, and I think I was focused more on negative statistics about them kind of going extinct rather than being informative about the actual animal. I needed a better visual aid because my necklace was very small, or I should have taken a picture of it and attached it to the video. I also struggle with speaking briefly, and I worry I lose attention when I go off on my tangents. It's a hard line to be funny and informative. Bill and I, the science guy, was a genius. Now, some of my professional goals for the future. I am aiming to become a concept designer for characters, probably environments, clothing, and I'm going to either be involved in cartoons, movies, or video games. Not sure which path yet, but we haven't gotten to art college. I know when it comes to ideas that you have for a story or for a character, you have to pitch it to a board of trustees or investors. And I think this class will really help in that aspect, seeing as how it taught me how to organize my ideas, focus on a thorough narrative, and try to present something without flitting from one thought to the next. I struggle with that, obviously. Other than that, I would just like to say thank you for the semester, and thank you for teaching me, and I hope you have a great rest of your year. Happy holidays, and goodbye.